Welcome back to the show. Many of us like to track our fitness. It kind of helps motivating ourselves when we set a goal and we track our fitness using apps. But how much information are we divulging? Well, Tony Anscombe is the cybersecurity expert, sorry, at ESET. Welcome to the show, Tony. Great to have you back. And let's dive right in with that because I was telling you off camera, I use one of those apps. So what kind of data may we be end up sharing by using some of these apps?
Well, we're in that time of year, aren't we, where everybody's out looking to get fit or lose weight or become whatever the motivation may be. But think about the rich data that's being collected by these apps and the devices that is collecting it. So we're often collecting steps and things like that, but also a lot of these advanced devices are collecting basic medical data, for example, heart rate, blood pressure, etc. And some even go as far as asking for pictures to do a body mass estimation of what your body mass index might be as well. So the very personal data of pictures of you as well, potentially in there. And location, of course, if you're a runner, you may well be tracking where you're running and how far you're running.
Yeah, and some of those things you mentioned, Tony, some people are probably like, well, I don't care if, they see what my heart rate is and, how far I've traveled. I, why is that important for us to keep in mind? Because, even if you've secured things like and you're not sharing pictures, why are some of those other things that we, most likely would dismiss? Why is it important that that information doesn't get shared?
Well, firstly, there's the personal nature of the information. Some of it may be a little sensitive if it became public. But now think about somebody gaining that information and creating a phishing email to actually get your credit card data, where they're using the information they know about you to actually extort some sort of fee. And you may not even be understanding how that's happening. So you suddenly get an email that looks and feels like it's from a fitness company. They're using data that you've easily given up and they've got hold of somehow. And suddenly, you're being duped. Any information that we share can be used against us, unfortunately. So we need to make sure that it's secure, make sure it's encrypted, make sure we use strong passwords. And if it's in a cloud service, turn on two-factor authentication and good practice, like we would with any other data.
Let's talk about doing our research. So, when it comes to selecting a health and fitness app, what should be we looking at?
Well, as a cybersecurity person, I think I'm in the minority. I always read the privacy policy and look at the permissions of the apps that I download. And I know privacy policies can be a little long in a lot of instances, but you're looking for some key elements of the policy: what data it is they collect, how they, whether they share that data, and what's the purpose of collection of that data. So if you could just highlight those pieces in the policy and make sure you're comfortable with what they're collecting and how it's being shared or whether it's being shared at all, that's a good start. And permissions, look at the permissions when you install an app. Just
Right.
check. Does a fitness app actually require the microphone and the camera? Maybe not. Look to make sure that permissions of an app are appropriate to the actual functionality of the app.
Let's talk about apps in general just for a moment here before we run out of time, Tony. And, when it comes to managing your apps, I mean, we have so many now on our devices. How should we properly manage those apps?
Well, make sure on a frequent basis you go through the apps and actually delete the ones you're not using. And I say that, and remember to delete the accounts behind it. So, if you did get the fitness tracker for Christmas, and if by March you've given up using it, make sure you go back, delete the app, and go to the cloud service and delete the account. So you remove the data that was collected in the first place. But that's true of all apps. So frequently go through, check the permissions, check you're still using the app, and if you're not, remove it and remove any associated accounts on a frequent basis.
So you've given me some homework, Tony. I am going to grab my phone right now, and after we have done talking here, I am certainly going to go through because I bet you I have some apps on here that I haven't used in quite some time. Tony, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your advice today.
My pleasure.
All right, take care. If you want to find out more information, by the way, about cybersecurity in general, certainly encourage you to head over to welivesecurity.com. That does it for this edition of Daytime Ottawa. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.